Oh, the nerd fighters!
I wanted to talk today about the idea guilt versus shame. What's this? Guilt versus shame. There are two separate emotions, and one is to be ashamed of yourself, and one is to be guilty about your actions. And the difference between the two can be life-saving, truthfully. I didn't learn this until later on. I was kind of raised in a family where shame is kind of used. It's not their fault. That was the way they were raised. Probably the people before them, that was the way they were raised, and so shame was kind of passed down. I inherited this kind of shame language. Or if I did something I felt was wrong, I would feel terrible about it, and I would kind of internalize it. And I didn't even realize I was doing any of this until I read a book called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Now I don't feel so horrifically bad all the time. And what this book taught me was how to be kind of gentler with myself. I want to be a nicer person to myself now. And also recognize when I'm shaming myself versus when I'm having guilt. Because guilt can be positive. It teaches us something. If you never felt guilty, you could never look at your actions in kind of an objective light and find how to change them. You'd stay stuck in the same loop over and over. We also can't shame ourselves. Shaming is when we say to ourselves, like, oh man, I'm such a horrible person, I can't believe I let that person down. I feel we live in a culture where we're never enough. And I kind of want to change that. I think if I could do one thing in my life, it would change the idea that people aren't enough. I think people are constantly being told they're not enough because that's a positive thing for the economy. Because when people are happy, they don't buy things. It's Brene Brown who first started me on the journey back from depression. About 2 years ago, I read her book at the suggestion of a friend. It wasn't really getting to me. I kind of was bouncing off like many other self-help books had. And then she asked the question in the book, who wants you to be unhappy? I realized that there's a lot of factors in the world that want people to be unhappy. A lot of advertising is shame-based. You won't be enough. You won't be enough for him. You won't be enough for them. You aren't enough. Unless you buy a product. We live in a culture of scarcity, and I want to do something about it. And I think that's really something I'm interested in pursuing. I'm not sure how or when, but I'm really interested in pursuing it. So, Dave, I will see you on Tuesday. And don't forget to be awesome.